What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Jump, a midweek college football update as we get the college football playoff rankings in our hands now. So we get to see what the committee has been thinking and talking about behind the scenes, as well as looking towards next week's games that I'll talk about. I also share my Heisman list, as always. That's posted on social media, but if you haven't seen that, then you'll hear it here first. But we have to talk about the college football playoff for sure. That's the number one news of the week. And there's really one team that stands out among the rest. There are a few key points that I need to take away from this that I need to bring to light. But if you're listening on podcast, I'll read these teams that are in the playoff in order. 1, Ohio State. 2, Indiana. 3, Texas A&M. 4, Alabama. 5, Georgia. 6, Ole Miss. 7, BYU. 8, Texas Tech. 9, Oregon. 10, Notre Dame. 11, Texas. 12, Oklahoma. 13, Utah. 14, Virginia. 15, Louisville. 16, Vanderbilt. 17, Georgia Tech. 18, Miami. 19, USC. 20, Iowa. 21, Michigan. 22, Missouri. 23, Washington. 24, Pittsburgh. And 25, Tennessee. That is the official first college football playoff rankings of the 2025 season. Now, I'll note off rip, the big takeaway that I noticed immediately was Iowa is in the playoff rankings and they're not in the AP poll. Now, some of them at the bottom, those kind of shake up and move around a little bit, like Cincinnati's in the AP poll, not in the playoff poll. But now all that matters is the playoff poll. That is all that matters. So, with that being said, we'll focus on that. The biggest takeaway of the entire playoff release, if you go on social media and you ask anybody their thoughts on it, why is Notre Dame at 10? For a couple reasons. You can argue that Notre Dame shouldn't be above Texas and Oklahoma. Texas has the same amount of losses, and one of them is on the road at the number one team in the land. They also have Florida, but that one's obviously, they kind of even out to where you could be like, how are they above Texas? Now you can say they look more consistently good, but the weird part is the thing that people will argue is like Notre Dame should not be above Miami because they played. Miami beat them, and Miami is 8 spots below. Notre Dame is going to take some people off. It already has, and it will. Now, I don't think that we can just be like, oh, Notre Dame shouldn't make the college football playoff. I think they're very, very good, and they probably should end up getting to that point. But we're sitting and looking at this point now. They still could do some work and get their way up there. I don't understand how they're 10 in the initial ranking. Like, they are good, obviously. They're very, very good. But Miami's sitting there at 18, and they beat you at the beginning of the season. If the games don't matter, what's the point of playing them? That's kind of my thoughts. You can definitely tell the committee goes based off, I mean, they kind of have their own mindset compared to the AP poll because, like, most of the top is very, very, I mean, the top 5 are the exact same as the AP poll. But from then on, it looks like you have Oregon at 6 in the AP poll and Oregon is at 9 in the playoff. That just tells me Oregon hasn't done enough to deserve to be jumped up, where Ole Miss has gone on the road and won games. BYU has looked dominant in games, so they're at 7. And Texas Tech is also above Oregon, who has a lot of good wins. So that tells me that the playoff committee really, really values the wins that you have, and I don't think they value the losses as much, if that makes sense. Like, Texas at 11, they're at 13 in the AP poll. I feel like maybe the Florida loss for the AP poll means something, and they don't really think of that. I think they're focusing more on they beat the 12 team, Oklahoma, and number 16 team, Vanderbilt. But for Notre Dame, they lost to number 18, but I don't think they value that as much as how good they've looked in games. They have a big one this week against Navy that they need to continue to win and roll. And Notre Dame's super talented, so I think like if they are in the playoff when it's all said and done, I'm not going to be shocked by that. And I think they'll compete. And, I like I said, I just don't know how they're 10. That's my one complaint. I'm just like, how in the world? I think some of these other teams deserve it. The other big point that I have as a takeaway from this is there are 3 Big 12 teams that are ranked above the highest ACC team. 7 BYU, 8 Texas Tech, 13 Utah. Now, in the AP, Virginia was at 12 in front of Utah, who is at 17. With them having 3 Big 12 teams, that is very significant because in the last last college football episode that I had uploaded, I talked about how on Saturday night we're going to figure out how this playoff kind of ends up looking, but it's going to be either the ACC gets 2 bids or the Big 12 gets 2 bids. That only just tells me the Big 12 is getting 2 bids and the ACC is getting 1. That's all that tells me. Now, it gets interesting because 14, 15, 17 with Virginia, Louisville, and Georgia Tech are all right there. I don't think Miami's really going to get too much of a chance unless some crazy things happen to be in the ACC championship, but I think it's just going to be the champ is in, the rest are out. So it's going to be something to monitor. BYU and Texas Tech play this week. I think if Texas Tech wins, BYU and Texas Tech win out from there, then it gets interesting. Also, there's a world where no matter what outcome happens this week, if they both win out, it depends on the championship outcome. Like, if BYU goes into Lubbock and wins, and then Texas Tech beats them, they're the automatic bid with the conference champ, and then I think BYU's still in at 12-1. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, with this initial playoff ranking, it is going to be completely different. It is going to be wildly different from what this is. One thing that I've seen people note also is 25. I think that personally should be Duke. I think they should probably be right there. But 25, Tennessee, they're out. They are out. They lost a college football playoff elimination game this past weekend against Oklahoma. They are done. There's no way that they make it. So I don't really understand why they're squeezing them in at 25 when like Memphis is in the AP poll at 22 and they're not even in the AP or in the playoff poll. So that's one interesting little note. Like I said, Iowa is in there. They have a big matchup this week that'll decide a lot of things for us. But I mean, a lot of these teams still end up matching up and it'll look completely different. But as of right now, the college football playoff projected bracket is phenomenal. It is absolute cinema. The 1 seed Ohio State, because this year, remember, it's conference champs are automatic bids, not automatic buys like they were last year. Last year, that kind of messed it up a little bit. I like this much better. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. Number 3, Texas A&M. And number 4, Alabama. In the 1 seed Ohio State area, it has Oregon going to Lubbock. Oregon is a 9 seed. Texas Tech is an 8 seed. That game would be awesome. And then it's just ironic because Oregon, congrats on making the college football playoff, fighting through all of this. You go on the road, win a tough road game to start it. Oh, yeah, by the way, here's Ohio State again. You get to play them in the second round. So it's just ironic that that's how it all ends up shaping up again. Also, Big Ten, Indiana, and their side. Notre Dame travels to Provo and plays at BYU. This is a awesome game that I would absolutely love to see. That game would be, it's just, it feels like a game that, I don't know if that's ever happened, I'll be honest. That game would be amazing. That would be 2 of the best coaches in the land duking it out in Provo, one of the most beautiful stadiums in all of America. It would be phenomenal. That'd be awesome to see. 3 seed Texas A&M, their bracket over there has Virginia traveling to Oxford, playing at Ole Miss. So that one would be fun as well because Virginia and Ole Miss, it's a wild collab, which is what we like for these playoff games, is like scenes that you don't usually get to see in some of these. Like that's what makes it so much fun. Like Notre Dame going to Provo, Virginia going to Ole Miss. Like that's going to be some exciting stuff. And then the 4, Alabama, they would be getting the winner of Memphis at Georgia. So Silverfield would have his boys playing at Georgia, which, I mean, Memphis, they have a tough one on Friday, but Memphis, as of right now, is the G5 rep. Win out, you're in. It's simple. So that is the current playoff. That's what it would look like as of right now. It's awesome. Notre Dame's the big takeaway. The biggest takeaway overall that I think, if you're listening, you need to note is the Big 12 is getting 2 teams. Like that's a very, very significant thing. Some of these other things are gonna work themselves out. So the first college football playoff rankings are in the book, and it was an exciting night. There's some good college basketball on. You got that going on, so it was a lot of fun. My Heisman Top 10 through Week 10. 10, Jeremiah Love. I've had him off for a little bit. Very, very deserving. numbers are incredible. He had scored that touchdown at Boston College where he's looking to the sideline at his boys for like 40 yards. He's just been electric. And he struck the Heisman post after that one. 9, Gunnar Stockton. I think he's still been incredible. I think he deserves a spot. Haynes King, even with the loss, I said this man absolutely carried. They end up losing a game where they scored 36. That's tough. But he still balled out. Trinidad Chambliss at 7 for Ole Miss. He's still played well. He's had a couple of games where it hasn't been great, but I think if you keep winning, I think the wins they hold a lot of value. Diego Pavia at 6, even in the Texas loss. I know a lot of the stats were late, but he had good numbers in that one. I know somebody said, like, you can go ahead and take Diego Pavia off, and I was like, I don't think I want to do that because he still played well. 5, Dante Moore. He continues to slide back up for me. He keeps playing well, and if he plays well this week, there's a chance that he could jump up even higher. 4, Marcel Reed, Texas A&M, undefeated, putting that on the line this week as they go to Missouri, but he's been exceptional so far. He's been a playmaker and doing all the right things. Fernando Mendoza at 3. He's been awesome for Indiana. Like there's not a throw he can't make. He is a commanding leader. He's been awesome. There's really no complaints with him. They go on the road. He has one of the best wins in the country, and he's a big reason for it. Number 2, Ty Simpson. He obviously dropped. I've had him first for a little bit, but I think the dude that I have in front of him is very deserving. But Ty Simpson has been elite. He still has some tough games coming up. He's going to have not an easy road as the season winds down, so he'll have a chance. They'll have LSU and Oklahoma and Auburn, so it's not going to be easy for him, especially if they're going to the SEC championships and stuff. So he's been really good. He's been elite. If he can continue that, he's going to have a legit shot at the Heisman. And number 1, Julian Sayin. I don't know if other lists have him at 1, but I think this past week was just the one where I was like, you can't deny it, man. He just makes plays, makes throws. He gets out of sacks. He can literally do it all. It started out as like, man, he's just super accurate. And now he's accurate with the playmaking ability. He's incredible. I know I've talked to a lot of Ohio State fans that get delusional when talking about him, but do it. Like, he's that good that you can talk yourselves into however you're feeling about this man. He's unbelievable. So I have Julian Sayin number 1 through week 10 on my Heisman list. Week 11 games to watch, a lot across the board. I mentioned Tulane and Memphis playing. That's a very, very important one. That's 9 p.m. on Friday, so make sure you tune in. Stay in touch with that one. That's going to be a very important game. Hopefully before this weekend, YouTube TV and ESPN can figure their stuff out because it's a problem. A lot of good games on ESPN this week. Indiana and Penn State. This one is significant because it's a noon game at Penn State. I think there's a chance that Indiana kills them. And I think that could shake up the college football playoff rankings because honestly I thought in the playoff rankings maybe Texas A&M or Indiana would end up getting that 1 slot. I think if Indiana just goes in there and absolutely throttles them, I think things get a little shaky at the top. Georgia goes to Mississippi State. Mississippi State has been a place that teams have almost died. It's not been an absolute Grim Reaper spot, but teams have gone there and played very, very close. And they still have the Arizona State win, which is very, very important. So Georgia going on the road, very intriguing matchup. Not an easy place to play in Starkville, so that one's going to be one to monitor. Texas A&M, number 3 at, actually, what is Missouri in the, Missouri's 22 in the playoff rankings. So that's a 3:30 game. A&M's putting their streak on the line, but last year A&M throttled Missouri. But I think that was more of a situational thing because Marcel didn't start that one. I don't remember the scenario it was. It was like Marcel did or didn't start. Yeah, I think it was Marcel was playing, didn't start that one because Wegman got back. So then they played Wegman, and then it was never close. I remember A&M rolling them. But for Missouri, they're playing that freshman Zowers that I think has a really high ceiling, but poor Missouri cannot catch a break. It feels like that. It feels like something happens every year. But it's going to be a sneaky spot. Like, Eli Drinkwitz is one of the best coaches in the land. I think you're going to prep for them. And Texas A&M, maybe battered Aggie syndrome ends up striking this week. Hopefully not. I like seeing the Aggies at the top of the sport. First, what are they, 8-0? First start of 8-0, of being 8-0 since 1992. So, shout out to the Aggies. Very important one this week. Oregon goes to Iowa in a game that I'm not sure that Iowa will be able to keep up, honestly. I just think Oregon's going to be deadly. It's weird now that we still have to say that, and it kind of sounds crazy because Iowa's offense has been getting it. But I think Oregon's just going to put up a little bit too much, and I think they'll be able to go to the Midwest and win. That is also at 3:30. Night game, LSU at Alabama. I think Alabama's probably just a little bit too good. I think they're probably just a little bit too good that this won't be a game. It'll be interesting to see what type of mindset LSU takes now with Kelly gone. I'm curious to see what the team looks like. I think it'll be a big shift in how they play, but I think Alabama's just going to be too good, and they're going to be rolling. Florida State at Clemson. This was a game that in the preseason we were like, oh shoot, like that's going to be the one for the ACC. Little did we know, both these teams are chalked. But still a fun game nonetheless. Two big logos, so that one will be one to monitor. I mentioned Navy at Notre Dame, 7:30. That one's going to be fun just because it's two really good teams battling it out, but you get to see Notre Dame continue to roll and try to back up the reason that they're number 10. The biggest game of the day is at noon. BYU at Texas Tech. Number 7 at number 8. This line is bigger than I thought. I think the last time I looked, it was 9.5, I think it was, for Texas Tech. That tells me that the people in Vegas making that line put a whole lot of stock in the fact that Will Hammond was the quarterback when Texas Tech lost to Arizona State. Now Baron Morton's back, and this offense will be clicking. If you are a betting man, I would say take the over. I think there's going to be points in this one. But I will never be the man to doubt Kalani Sitake. So I think they're going to be in this game. I think it's going to be a really good game. Noon, so it's not going to be it's going to be a good crowd, but it's not going to be super, super rowdy. That one's for the top of the Big 12. It's going to be awesome. That game's going to be amazing. I'm excited for it. Excited for all these Week 11 games. They're going to be very, very intriguing and very pivotal in the college football playoff rankings. So big ones to look forward to. Excited for them. Hope you're excited as well. That'll do it for this midweek update. Good games to look forward to. Let me know your thoughts on the college football playoff rankings as we now have them in our hands. So, exciting night of college football, and as we get the college football playoff picture, we get to see what this season is going to kind of end up shaping like. Like I said, it'll change a whole lot. That's inevitable, but we have it to look forward to nonetheless. That'll do it. Peace.